Oh, hello. Can we please talk about UFC 276? I'm going to be looking at the whole card, recapping all my bets, seeing who was good, who was bad, who was in the middle. Also taking a look at UFC news. Well, MMA news, really. Like, there's loads of stuff in the MMA news. Weirdly, Tyron Woodley's back in the news for some reason. So, yeah, let's get cracking with the Burt Locker episode 124. So, Dricus to Placey is someone that I was looking forward to seeing this weekend. I'll look forward to seeing him again. Had a rocky first round, but that's due to Brad Tavares being a very, very good opponent, actually. Very good opponent. This was definitely the biggest test of Dricus' career so far. He passed it with flying colours. I really look forward to seeing how he gets on moving up the division, because the man's just fun to watch. It's weird. It looks like he's gassed in round one, but he's not. He just keeps fighting at the same frenetic pace, but he just kind of fights with his mouth. Like, he just looks exhausted. Everything he does, he looks exhausted, but he still throws with just like, he's vicious as well. I mean, Brad Tavares, he went in there with blonde hair, left with red hair. It's just, yeah, and Dricus, he never stops punching. It's like the episode of The Simpsons, Homer They Fall, where they, God, I shouldn't know the name of that, where he fights Frederick Tatum, and he's got a Tramp in there fighting him, and then he's just like, hey, that Tramp's got the energy of a hobo, never stops punching, except to check on his bindle. That's Dricus to Placey in a nutshell. So, early fight pass prelims, we also saw a really nasty arm break, and not from Andre Muniz. I thought if anyone was going to be snapping some limbs, it would be Andre Muniz, but no, it was Julia Stolyarenko, and she got this really nice armbar on Jessica Rose Clark. Really nice. It was on so fast, and the arm it snapped at the elbow, like going backwards. It's really rough to watch those ones, but it's kind of like a car crash. You can't look away. Yeah, if you enjoy watching people get their arms broke, go back and watch that. You're in for a real treat. Andre Muniz, as we mentioned, he looked really good, actually. His striking was quite impressive, especially since he was striking with Uriah Hall, who is a very good striker. I know he's been up and down in the UFC, but he is a very good striker. And, yeah, I think the fear of the takedown played into it, and also, when he got the takedown, his top pressure was just brilliant. Uriah Hall defended pretty well and managed to stave off the submission, but that's about all he managed to do, dropping a unanimous decision there. Jalen Turner looked fantastic. I was very confident in that pick because I've been on the Jalen Turner hype train for quite a while. I'm not sure who he fights next. I mean, I hate to keep throwing Neil Magny to the Wolves, but Neil Magny would fight him as well. Neil Magny is game as they come. And Neil Magny is just a very good test to see where these new up-and-coming fighters are. I don't like to use the term gatekeeper, but actually that's a prestigious position, honestly, because that's the position where, look, the UFC wants to know where these guys are and they want to test them against you. That's actually, people use the term gatekeeper disrespectfully. I don't really understand that. It's a really prestigious position to be in, and you can make a lot of money doing it. But yeah, Jalen Turner he grabbed that submission really well. I did think, because I did cover off the submission, I was thinking it was maybe going to be a knockout, but with Jalen Turner, he will finish you however he can, and and he is a finisher. I believe that's 13 wins, 13 finishes now. Not unbeaten, but still, that's impressive to have 13 wins and 13 finishes. I can look forward to seeing what else he does in that lightweight. 6'3" at lightweight. Fucking kidding me? It was sad to see Robbie get KO'd again, but it was a good fight. It was just always going to be a fun one. I thought what Brian Barbaro did very well was that he was throwing soft, bang! And then it was tough to know where the hard punch was coming. He'd sneak a real hard one in with like the volume, because the rest of the time he was just volume striking. Very cleverly done, actually. And Robbie looked sharp as well. Robbie did look sharp. He didn't look like somebody who was just like, being thrown to the wolves. He was fully in that fight. It was really enjoyable. Great win for Brian Barbaro. And that bet was perfect, because I did have Brian Barbaro as an underdog to get the knockout in that one. So I thought, not that I was rooting against Robbie, I was rooting for him, honestly, but yeah, what can you do? And then you had some great work from Jim Miller. Jim Miller avenging that loss to Cowboy Cerrone, who did retire. I thought Cowboy would try and get to 50, but hey, look, if he doesn't love it anymore, then yeah, he needs to retire. End of the day, Donald Cerrone's got options. He did that Western with Gina Carano. I haven't seen it yet, but there is a place for all these kind of films. I love a Western. I don't know if the hat was even a giveaway at all, but I love a Western. And you know what? I will watch Donald Cerrone in any Western, because I just think that he wouldn't, like, he's probably a good actor, but he probably doesn't even really need to act to do like the Western character, because it is just him, isn't it? He's just grizzled. He's led like a tough physical life, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he does outside of the octagon. Shame he couldn't get to that 50th fight, but there's no point in taking that 50th fight just to phone it in and potentially get hurt. MMA is a risky business. Really, congratulations on a really fantastic career, Cowboy. I look forward to seeing you in the movies, my man, and yeah, best of luck to you. Thank you for all the fantastic fights. And as for Jim Miller, I look forward to seeing you at UFC 300, my friend, because I want to see Jim Miller to be the first guy to fight at UFC 100, UFC 200, and UFC 300. Obviously, that is pending another return from Brock. Like, let's be fair. Let's not rule it out completely. We're looking at UFC 300 being about 2 years away. In fact, it will be exactly 2 years away because the UFC will engineer it like that. It's going to have to be UFC Fight Week, and it's about 24 events away. They do slightly more numbered events every year these days, but they can always turn one to they'll engineer it to happen. And I wouldn't rule out Brock Lesnar coming back again. I wouldn't rule it out. That's just saying. Anyway. Shame about the OMalley fight. I had Munhoz winning. 2 out of the 3 judges actually had him winning that first round as well. I had the second round, relatively close. People are alluding to him wanting to find an easy way out. I don't really see why. I thought actually on the cards he was winning. And at the end of the day, someone who's as dangerous as Sean O'Malley, you don't want to be fighting him with one eye. Why should he? If Sean O'Malley can't control his weapons, and as a result of that, Munhoz gets poked in the eye, and he can't see well enough to fight properly, that's not really his fault. Why should you have to train one of the best strikers out there with one eye? Not many people can do that. Shout out Michael Bisping for fucking winning a title with one eye. You're a fucking legend, sir. Love that shit. But yeah, but no disrespect to Munhoz, who he did the right thing. If you can't see, you shouldn't have to fight an elite level striker like O'Malley, and he did the right thing. Hopefully they run that one back. Pereira was absolutely class. That left hook was stunning. It's like his finishing move at this point. It was a shame for Strickland, but I kind of saw that one coming. That was also another bet that I had. But yeah, it's going to be. It was always going to be a difficult matchup for Sean, because Sean Strickland, he kind of bullies opponents, and it's fun to watch, but it's going to be very difficult to bully Pereira. He's so big for middleweight as well. You look at him standing next to Teixeira, who's like a light heavyweight, and he's fucking huge. His limbs are long. It's like he's made out of steel cable. Love the dude. And then Volkanovski put on an absolute masterclass against Max Holloway. Now, I thought Volkanovski would win, but I didn't think he'd win that convincing. Like, that was just a blowout. It was. So his striking was so crisp and so sharp. And the thing that I loved about it was that he always, every combination he threw, boom, 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 he had an exit. His feet are always in the right place. That's the thing I love about Volkanovski. His feet are just always in the right place. And so he can deal a combination and then bang, step out, done, out of the way, done. And it means that he can unload these vicious combinations and just not get hit back. And it's so hard to do, but he made it look effortless. Volkanovski should be #1 pound for pound now. Honestly, I cannot stress enough how much I like Volkanovski, because he's not only is he an absolute savage in the octagon, he's technically brilliant as well, and he's also technically brilliant in every area. Like, we haven't seen him out grappled really, or like he's so good. There are no glaring weaknesses, and on top of all that, he just seems like a guy that it would be nice to have a beer with. I mean, correct me if everyone's each to their own, but I just feel like Volkanovski would be a class bloke to sit and have a beer with. He's a great champion as well. That for me should have been the main event. because we'll move on to the main event, and I will say that I thought from the beginning that the main event should have been Max versus Volkanovski, because it's about it's the trilogy, or not a real trilogy obviously, because Volkanovski had already won 2, but there was history there. Max Holloway is one of the best to ever do it. Volkanovski's getting into that conversation as well, and that should have been the main event, not Adesanya versus Cannonier, because it was a boring fight. I'm not going to pretend that it wasn't. Now, from a technical standpoint, Adesanya was brilliant. He was just very good at hitting enough and not getting hit. Jared seemed like there was no urgency there. See, the thing is, the fight was boring, but it's not all Adesanya's fault, because Cannonier didn't really come to fight. Cannonier came in there because he was happy to go 5 rounds with the champ and say, I've been 5 rounds with the champ, and that was the real problem with the fight, honestly. And it just meant that all you saw was a lot of people moving around the octagon, doing the bare minimum, no real jeopardy, no real danger, and without that, there isn't really any excitement. Now, I'm not saying it was a bad performance from Israel Adesanya, far from it. He was technically almost flawless. That's the thing, isn't it? But could it have been more exciting? Yeah, of course it could have. Could either one of them have gone for it more? Yeah, sure. I think it's on Jared more than Israel to go for it, honestly, because he's there to try and win a title. But Israel Adesanya, he also said that he was going to put on this flawless performance. I get that he's trying to sell fights. I get that, right? But at a certain point, Cannonier stood in front of him a lot, and a kickboxer as good as Adesanya, I feel like, should have maybe been able to put him away. That's easy for me to say from my comfortable sofa over here. I understand that, but Israel Adesanya is one of the most savage kickboxers the UFC has ever seen, and he had a very stationary target for a long time in that fight. I don't think it's too much to ask that he fucking puts an exclamation point on it. Because as it stood, it was a boring fight, and I'm not going to pretend it was anything else. It almost put me to sleep, honestly. And end of the day, I know people will say that they're not there to entertain us. That's exactly what they're there to fucking do. It's entertainment. People are paying $75 in America for these fucking pay-per-views, right? And they will not buy it. If every fight was like that main event, no one would buy the pay-per-views. Yeah. And going to move into the news. So I just wanted to say thank you for all of you that support me, that watch these videos. It means the world. If you could also do me a favour and like and subscribe, that would be amazing. There's also the Patreon as well. The Patreon gets extra fight breakdowns on a Friday that don't ever get included on YouTube. So if you enjoy the fight breakdowns, I do a lot of research into them. The bets overall, like I said, they're terrible. They're not designed to be anything but. It's an MMA scratch card. But the research that goes into the fights is very real. And if you look at the research that I do, you can form your own conclusions. I often say what the safe bet is going to be. I even said, look, if you want a safe bet this weekend, Adesanya by decision. That was my safe bet. I said it was the safest bet on the card. And that's because it's going to happen. But yeah, anyway. Thank you for your support. If you could head over to the Patreon as well, that'd be amazing. Let's have a look at the news. So, Tyron Woodley says that he would come back for a fight with Izzy. Okay, Tyron. What? Yeah, of course you would. Like, who's asking for that, though? Who's asking for that fight? Maybe when you were the welterweight champion and you were stopping everybody. Yeah. Okay. There was some sort of way that could happen then, but come on, when at this point, coming off 2 losses to Jake Paul, why is this even coming up? Look, release another rap album, get into TV, do something, get into commentary, get into the broadcasting. Look, Tyron Woodley's a very talented guy, very talented individual. He can make money doing whatever, but just stating the obvious. Well, I would come back for a fight with Israel Adesanya. Of course you fucking would. The UFC is not asking for it. The fans are not asking for it. Just go and make another rap album. Get into... Yeah, just... I don't know. John Jones tweeting Izzy... basically, I do agree with John Jones here, because he was talking about how are you threatening somebody with painted nails and Frozen references. Yeah, I agree, mate. It's cringe. It was cringe when he tried it at the press conference, and it was even more cringe after that dull-ass fight to fucking stand there and go, hey, last time I left you on skates, and this time I'll leave you frozen, like Elsa. Woo! Fuck off with that. I mean, I know that he's a badass and he would kick my ass and he would kill most people with his bare hands, but it just wasn't a good line. It's not a good line. And when it wasn't a good line in the first place, don't try it again. That was dumb. It was just bad. It was a fucking cherry on the crap sundae that was that fight. The entrance, like, how do you do the Undertaker's entrance and then fucking coast to a fucking 5-round decision and not really do it? Fucking god damn it. That angered me as well. It's like, I don't know. Oh no. Then we got Francis. He came to his defense on Twitter and it's like, okay, yeah. Francis, you're siding with Israel. Quelle fucking surprise. Do you know what I mean? I'm so surprised that you're coming to the aid of Izzy because he's born in Nigeria and so therefore he can do no wrong. Fuck me. Like I said, the Elsa call out was cringe, and he said, well, yeah, you know, pointing to the fact that John Jones, like, he's sitting there not fighting whilst Izzy's defending his belt. I hate to break it to you, but Jones has 13 title defences to Izzy's 5. You've got 1. Usman, I don't think that even if you combine you, Usman and Izzy, you have as many title defences as John Jones. So shut up with that. That's just remember who you're talking to. John Jones is one of the greatest of all time. Like, don't tweet at him about not defending his title when between you, Izzy and Usman, you don't have as many title defences as John Jones does. Shut up with that. Ridiculous. It's honestly ridiculous. It's like, when John first won, he had 8 defences in 4 years. Izzy's got work to do to match that, honestly. Don't fucking throw shade about title defences to one of the greatest to ever do it, is all I'm saying. Fucking ridiculous. Then we've got Troll of the Week. This one I might have done before, but I couldn't remember if I had or not, and it is funny anyway, so I thought, fuck it, I'll throw it in there. Jake Paul basically needs to stop emailing contracts out to fighters because they're too old and they can't read them. I just find that funny. It's a fucking good one. It always is. And then you've got Izzy's entrance versus Izzy's actual performance. You've got Israel walking down to the Undertaker's entrance and then putting on... It wasn't a fun fight. It just wasn't. I didn't think it was going to be, honestly. I thought the Volkanovski versus Holloway should have been the main event. But yeah, the performance was pretty dead. I'll say that. Just like this meme shows, the performance was dead. That is all I've got time for this week. We've got some more fights at the weekend. I think it might be Rafael Fiziev against Rafael dos Anjos, isn't it? Let me have a look. Let me have a quick look. Sorry about this. So I should have had this up first. Why is this not fucking... why is this trolling me? Come on. Oh, come on. Oh, Jesus Christ. What is this doing? Come on. It's fucking ridiculous. Why isn't it showing me the upcoming events? I was right. Dos Anjos versus Fiziev. Now, I've been looking forward to this fight for a long while. It's going to be interesting. Who else have you got on here? Said Nurmagomedov. Okay. Jared Vanderas in there. Excellent. Jamie Malaki against Michael Johnson. That's an interesting fight. I like that. Cavillo's back. I thought she retired. Ricky Tercios, the guy who's from The Ultimate Fighter. Tracy Ingor, he's from The Ultimate Fighter as well. Yeah, some interesting fights on there. Anyways, I'll be breaking those down and having a look at those next week. Until then, keep those odds long and those bets terrible.